This is the Orioles Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Finally, the Orioles get a break. And finally, the cosmos works in Baltimore's favor as we're celebrating a series win on this Sunday, 7-3 over the Los Angeles Angels. Hello, and welcome to the Baltimore Orioles Postcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Luke Slabaugh. I am your post-game show host after every Baltimore Orioles game this season. And the O's, for the first time, win a game on Sunday. And it's great to have it on this holiday, this Mother's Day. I want to give a shout out to all the mothers out there who may be tuning in. We know we do have a very significant female audience that jumps in the comment section and chats up a bunch. I'm very happy that you all are here. Happy for my mother back home in St. Louis. Was able to talk to her a bit today. Sent her some of her favorite hydrangeas. Love Mother's Day and love that we get to celebrate a Baltimore Orioles win today. As a reminder, Connor Newcomb still runs the main Locked On Orioles podcast. He is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, giving his analysis, extended takes, big deep dive episodes, and we'll expect one tomorrow morning from him. He's probably doing his drafts right now, taking notes as the Orioles take 2 out of 3 from the Los Angeles Angels. It's the third series win of the year and first one here in the month of May. But first thing we got to talk about is a welcome addition back to the Orioles rotation.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Zach is back. Zack Eflin was really the anchor of this rotation before he went down in the Arizona series in early April. Had a mild lat strain on his right throwing shoulder and has been gone for about a month. While originally he was put on the 15-day IL, it was a long road to recovery and getting comfortability in his rehab assignments. In a corresponding move, right-hander Colin Selby was sent to AAA Norfolk. Also joining him at AAA Norfolk is left-hander Trevor Rogers as he begins his rehab with the Tides. So there is hope yet for this rotation. I know that they're behind the 8 ball quite a bit, and this is only their third series win. However, it's good to know that at least 40% of the rotation is reliable. Tomoyuki Sagano has been a revelation. We saw him on Friday night. Dean Kramer coming off back-to-back 7-inning outings. Perhaps he will heat up because he is notoriously bad in March and April. That's 3 right-handers. As I have mentioned, one of my main critiques of the rotation heading into the season rather, was that it was too right-handed. They needed a good, solid lefty. Cade Povich, been inconsistent. But for now, Zack Eflin, welcome addition, a solid 2. Top of the rotation starter, as is Sagano. They're not aces. They're not put-away guys. They don't have overpowering stuff. But Zack Eflin has the composure, he has the stuff, and he has the sequencing to fool a team like the Angels that's very swing-happy. And I'm not going to lie, first inning, kind of rough, out of the gate. But nothing of this was really his fault. He got the first 2 outs on 2 pitches apiece and got Zach Neto to ground out to him, and then Yoan Moncada flying out on 2 pitches to the shortstop. Jorge Soler gets a single. Cool. And then Taylor Ward hits an RBI double. He advances to third base on the throw home. Tyler O'Neill kind of took a weird route to this bounding ball. Jim Palmer mentioned this on the Masson broadcast. And the throw home was kind of offline. Maverick Hanley has to come kind of inside the running lane, but then tries to throw to third base. They could have gotten Ward if the throw had been accurate and on time and there hadn't been any of this nonsense on the missing cutoff and all that. So 2 runs score after Logan O'Hoppe hits a single. So on 11 pitches, Zack Eflin already falls behind 2-1 is the score, but gets Joe Adell to strike out on a curveball low. And after that, not a whole lot of trouble. Actually was able to get a recovery from the defense, a really good rundown play in the bottom of the third. Jorge Soler's on first, Yoan Moncada on second. Ward hits a single. The throw goes home, and this time Moncada pumps the brakes around third. Jorge Soler, not exactly the sharpest tool, keeps running. Gets caught in a rundown. Hanley throws it to the infielders. They're able to get him. And that was an important second out in a game that was still 2-1. Zack Eflin continues his streak of allowing 3 runs or fewer in an Orioles uniform. Not a quality start. as he finishes with 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Eflin throws 83 pitches and 54 of them for strikes. Good that he wasn't extended past his limits, as I'm sure Brandon Hyde, the manager, will be treating him rather gingerly, as they need to keep him in this rotation. The main theme for the Orioles moving forward in May and June, as the rest of this roster starts to get healthy, tread water. It is about taking 2 out of 3 and winning more games than you lose. I know that that sounds like wishful thinking, and this game in a silo should not be a reason to put all your emotional investment and chips and eggs into this basket. I won't do that. I'm very much dealing in reality here. But the return of a top of the rotation starter to the O's rotation is just, it's good to see. There is something about Zack Eflin, his leadership, his composure, and the way that the team has answered the call during his start so far this season. It's very encouraging. And it's one player, it's one cog in this machine. I'm not going to pump sunshine. I haven't done it all season, and I'm not going to. This team still has a long ways to go in terms of offensive approach, which was good today. And we're going to talk about that extensively in the second block. But just get to some semblance of normality. Just keep this thing running. And easier said than done. Win more games than you lose. There is something about Zack Eflin that is a morale boost. Very welcome. Good family guy, got the call on opening day. Like, he's trustworthy. He's a good guy. And there's something about it that you always feel that the team has a chance when he's on the mound. And the team rallies around him like they did today.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
So there's a couple of instances that we could point to that really leapt off the page today, so to speak. But I think the 5th inning kind of encapsulates what this game was all about. I introduced the theme of cosmic laughter during the Minnesota series, that when things become so obvious and so apparent, the way that life flows, you just have to sit back and kind of laugh to yourself about it. How obvious, how fascinating. And unfortunately, we saw that on the wrong end of the spectrum up at Target Field in Minneapolis. But today, we saw the fates turn in favor of the Baltimore Orioles. We know statistically how they are. When they score 3 runs or fewer, they're 2-21. This team has more talent than that. They shouldn't be losing 5-2 every game. And when they did fall behind in that first inning, I thought, man, they just wasted a golden opportunity, particularly in that first inning. Like, Gunnar Henderson leads off, hits a double to right center field, elevated pitch. And then 2 outs. O'Neill flies out. Ryan Mountcastle strikes out looking on a 7-pitch at bat. And this isn't the turning point by all means, but what set this game up in some good auspices, in my opinion, was Adley Rutschman pops up this lazy fly ball into left field, and Taylor Ward just misplays it, charges in, and loses the ball in the sun, and it's behind him. It's an RBI triple for Rutsch, and it gave the O's a much-needed first inning run, 1-0. And I thought, thank goodness, because for the last 30-something games, that had only been working against Baltimore. So then Emmanuel Rivera, who's been wonderful in this pinch, as Ramon Urias and Jordan Westberg are on the IL playing third base, he leads off and hits a bounding ball to Yoan Moncada, who inexplicably takes this weaselly milquetoast turning away from the ball, opening up and trying to play it while moving backwards, played for an error, and Rivera reaches. And then Cedric Mullins, thank goodness, leaps back into the action and hits a double. You got runners on second and third here. And I just, my goodness, no outs. I'm like, come on, do this. And I, admittedly, on yesterday's postcast, you can go back and watch or listen if you're here on the replay or watching or listening the day after. I said, give Adley and Cedric Mother's Day off because they were in free fall. I mean, Adley was down to 195 in his batting average, and Mullins was in the middle of an over 30 something. It was dismal. And I thought, hey, just give them a notebook, give them an iPad, let them spend time with their families in the morning. Just leave them alone. And I was wrong. Mea culpa. Maverick Handley playing catcher today. up to the plate. Sac fly to Ward. Rivera scores. It's a 2-2 ball game. Mullins then gets an incredible jump with Gunnar Henderson at the plate. Swipes third. And again, just these breaks, these momentum shifts. Hadn't seen this energy or this opportunity seizing in forever. Gunnar strikes out on a pitch that was really, really low. Then, with left-hander Tyler Anderson on the mound, the starting pitcher today for LA, chooses to intentionally walk Tyler O'Neill, showing him some mad respect because historically he does play very well against right-handers. Then Ryan Mountcastle, 2 outs. Thank goodness, shoots a ball into the outfield for an RBI single, and all of a sudden, all is right with the world. They come back, it's 3-2, and they don't let go of the lead for the rest of the game. There's a lot I want to talk about offensively, and I think the least of which, of course, is that the O's beat a left-handed pitcher, and a darn good one at that, with a 2.58 ERA right now, as it shows. They're saying only 1 earned run over 5 innings for Tyler Anderson, but I would hazard a guess that at least one of those is going to be given back in the earned run category. And we'll talk about all that after the break. Specifically, we're going to award our player of the game for the first time in what kind of seems like, well, no, we gave it to Tomo Sagano on Friday. We'll have our player of the game, and we're going to talk some more about things we really liked about this Baltimore offense and looking ahead to Tuesday's series against the Minnesota Twins. And that's call coming up on the other side of this break. But of course, we're all about building wealth here, and we want to give a shout out to Monarch Money. It's your personal CFO, and it's darn efficient. Gives you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just for budgeting, although it is very good for that. They like to call it the command center, and it pretty much is. You can track accounts, investments, spending, and everything just in this one app, Monarch Money. And so with all that streamlined, you can just focus on building wealth. And in this economy, you got to. So instead of juggling multiple apps and going through the bank, you can track your spending and plan your long-term goals. And you can also, if you've got a partner, if you've got a girlfriend, Lord knows I don't, but you can certainly track shared accounts and figure out all the spending, just get on the same page. So that's why we got Monarch Money here, to take control and track your finances. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB, that's all one word, LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Also, the MVP, as far as I'm concerned today, player of the game, wonderful Pistachios. Because some of the greats, some of the good announcers, some of the good reporters and journalists, they will use wonderful Pistachios to just keep their voice strong and keep their throat working efficiently. It's delicious. It's nutritious. It's a good source of protein when it comes to those snacks. It's one of the highest protein nuts. So each 1 ounce serving of wonderful Pistachios has 6 grams of protein. And that's over 10% of the recommended daily value. Also, you got fiber, unsaturated fats. So you're going to feel full and you're going to feel longer. It's a very good and efficient snack. So they also come in a bunch of different varieties, no shells, if you're not into the cracking and crunching of nuts. And it's just really efficient. You can get them anywhere. I'm sure you've seen them at the store, or the gas station, or things like that. If you're running in between meetings or you're dropping off the kids, carpool, lunches, I mean, just in transit, it's a good thing to have. Get snacking, get cracking. It packs a protein punch. It's wonderful Pistachios. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Who we got, guys? Let me know in the comments who you want the player of the game to be. I know my decision. You can give some honorable shout outs, some mentions as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and give it right now.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Gunnar Henderson. And it's strange in a game in which he struck out 3 times, but he finishes 2 of 5, 2 runs scored, and 2 ribbies. A very welcome addition to the leadoff spot, which had been kind of in flux after Cedric Mullins started slumping. We knew that he was going to get more at-bats at the front of the lineup when he came back from the injury and was promoted from Norfolk But once that rehab assignment was over and he was back into the swing of things, it made sense. Cedric Mullins, Jackson Holliday, perhaps up at the top of the order. Brandon Hyde's still figuring out that top of the order. And to his credit also, Adley Rutschman dropped down from the 2-hole today. It all worked out. Gunnar Henderson cooked today, particularly against right-hander Connor Brogdon in the top of the 6th. It started out with the O's taking everything that they were given. Ramon Laureano was originally very irate. He had a 3-1 count, pitch called way outside for strike 2. Had to circle around and dip back into the batter's box. He ends up walking and then stealing second base. Jackson Holliday strikes out. There's a throwing error on the pickoff in the center field, so Ramon then goes to third, and he scores on a wild pitch. So then, of course, we have a bunch of people on base. Maverick Hanley doing a safety squeeze made it 5-2. And then with a runner on, Gunnar Henderson. Change up low and in, smashes the home run, 105 miles an hour off the bat, 39-degree launch angle, gets the pirate hat as he walks back in to the dugout. But particularly loved everything I saw at the plate out of Maverick Hanley. Showed to be very efficient and have a good eye for the ball. They said something, I think a couple nights ago when he tried to lay down a sacrifice bunt, that he had only been asked to lay down maybe 3 sacrifice bunts at AAA. And he's got a couple hits under his belt already. But that safety squeeze, which will be ruled as a sacrifice because a run scored, is wonderful execution. And so you add Mountcastle, you add Gunnar Henderson's home runs, and you add Adley Rutschman's triple, so to speak. That is 4 2-out RBIs by the Baltimore Orioles. We dug into the stats last night that looked, very bleak in terms of the Orioles' offensive approach with 2 outs, and particularly with runners in scoring position. And they found a way. They were taking what they were given. They took advantage of mistakes. They worked walks. Maverick Hanley gets the first 2 RBIs of his career. And all of a sudden, you're manufacturing runs, not necessarily relying on the long ball. Certainly that's the blow and the decisive blow today. And that's why Gunnar Henderson is our player of the game today. But man, keep this going. Now you have a homestand. You got a series coming up against Minnesota. Like, please. And the Nationals, who are kind of hit and miss. Like, this is a great opportunity coming up to get some wins. And I know people in the comments and people commenting are going to be like, hey, Minnesota just kind of stuck it to you last week. And I would agree. But hey, journey of the 1,000 miles begins with a single step and a single safety squeeze by Maverick Hanley and a single home run by Gunnar Henderson. Bullpen combines for 3 scoreless innings. Sir Anthony Dominguez, Ryan Baker, Yennier Cano, before Felix Bautista gave up the home run to Matthew Lugo in the 9th. Garbage time, it's cool. Obviously not a high leverage situation for the Mountain. And that leads to a 7-3 final score. Moving forward, the Orioles will welcome in the Minnesota Twins on Tuesday. We have tomorrow off. It is the start of 16 games in a row for the Baltimore Orioles. This is not going to be easy. There is a lot ahead and a lot to ask, including a 4-game series over at Fenway Park. They welcome in the Cardinals, who are the hottest team in baseball right now. I think I had that right. That's 16 games in a row, I do believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So between now and Thursday, the 29th, work is cut out for this team. And again, already odds stacked against them and no real consistent performance metric to point to that would give you semblance for hope for this month. They go up against some really good competition. As I had mentioned, the Cardinals are surging. The Brewers are competitive for sure. The Red Sox, despite all the Rafael Devers drama going on, they continue to pack a pretty good punch offensively. Work cut out for them, and it starts Tuesday night, 6:35, first pitch on Masson Cade-Povich against Simeon Woods Richardson. First of 3-game set against the Minnesota Twins, and then a redux of the Beltway series, this time the Nationals coming to Camden Yards. As a reminder, this is the Baltimore Orioles postcast. This is bonus content during the week and the weekends. Connor Newcomb is still here 5 days a week with the Locked On Orioles podcast show that you've come to know and love, streaming here live on YouTube. This post-game show is live. We have live comment sections. Please be sure to leave a comment. Let me know where you're commenting from, how you celebrated Mother's Day, or any big Mother's Day moments and memories that you may recall. If you're watching here on the replay, again, I'm pretty active in the comment section after a win. And if you're listening, wherever you get your podcast for free, Apple, Spotify, you name it, Amazon, perhaps, they're one of our sponsors. Go ahead, leave a rating, leave a review, things you like about the show, things you would change. And I'm very happy to interact, give feedback, and talk to all of y'all about Baltimore Orioles baseball, because today we go out in style on Mother's Day. We celebrate a 7-3 win over the Los Angeles Angels. This has been the Baltimore Orioles postcast. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. Really love what we got going here. Really appreciate you guys tuning in after every Baltimore Orioles game. We'll be back on Tuesday, but for now, I want to say thank you for tuning in, for watching and listening live on the replay, for interacting and being part of this great community. Happy Mother's Day. Good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you right back here on Tuesday night.